How are you
Is
feeling?
my zit sticker? How does it look?
You look great.
Does it look gross? Like, should I take it off?
I mean, you generally do look gross.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Like all over.
Hi guys, welcome to the podcast. Make it weird.
I'm Harmony, and I look
Haley.
ugly.
I'm Haley, and Harmony looks ugly.
Thank you.
Oh,
You said it. Welcome to Make It Weird,
the
Slumber Party edition.
Yeah.
Yay! So if you were listening to our last mini, we started off with our Slumber Party stuff, and we are kicking it right back off into, again, more Slumber Parties.
Yeah, we were supposed to get to bed. It's 9 o'clock. Mom said it's bedtime, but we said we're making a podcast, Mom.
Exactly. Leave us alone. But like, if we're quiet enough, Mom won't know we're still awake.
Talk to me about slumber parties. What did you guys do at slumber parties?
Okay, so I told you, Haley just learned today what Chubby Bunny is.
I did, yeah.
If you don't know, it's where you shove a bunch of marshmallows in your mouth and you keep putting more and more in, and you have to say the words Chubby Bunny, and then whoever loses, you just like spit out all the marshmallows. We did that. Honestly, we played Mad Libs at slumber parties. That was great. We picked a movie. It would usually be like, it was like a family friendly one, because I was the kid that was afraid of everything, and I was not about to watch a scary movie.
So at my house,
Tell us.
This is like, maybe you've heard this before. For some reason, everybody would come over to my house. We never really went anywhere else for sleepovers. It was always my house, and we would always want to watch a movie. We had like 5 movies at my house, like DVDs,
Okay.
and one of the movies was Yes Man.
Yes Man was a great movie.
I've seen it hundreds of times.
Wait. Okay, so like, I'm older than Haley.
Yeah.
By a decent amount. That is so crazy to me, because the first time I saw that, I was like 23 probably, and I was like, wow, this movie just came out, I feel like.
No, it did not.
Okay, maybe not 23, but I was in my 20s when I saw Yes Man for the first time. You know what?
2008.
No, I lied to you. I wasn't in my 20s, but I was definitely like nearing the end of high school. You guys watched Yes Man?
Yes.
What a weird movie.
No, I know. And once again, we didn't have a lot of movies on DVD.
Uh-huh.
And I had a DVD player.
Yeah.
And so like the only funny movie that we had was Yes Man.
But you know,
so like I would be like, all right, we're going to watch a movie. And every time. Yes Man.
But you're saying they chose to come to your house, so they knew that was the movie.
Well,
you guys didn't go rent a movie?
No, I didn't have money for that. I was going to ask my parents.
No?
No,
Interesting.
my mom probably would have said yes, but I was too afraid.
That was like a Friday thing. Like Friday night, you go pick out your movies for the weekend.
Oh, this was like Saturday. We always did Saturday nights.
Yeah, but like Friday night, my mom and I would go to the movie, and you like pick them out for the weekend. So if I was going to have a slumber party on Saturday, then we would pick out a movie for that.
The only time that so my friends were over basically my weekends were split between my parents. One weekend I'd be with my mom, one weekend I'd be with my dad.
That makes a difference. Yeah.
So anytime that I was at my mom's house, they would always spend the night Saturday going into Sunday.
Okay.
And the only time my mom would be like, let's go pick a movie, is like for a special event. Like either a movie that I'd been wanting to see had just come out, like Paranormal Activity, or it was Halloween. So we would rent something like Paranormal Activity.
That's so interesting, because like it was weekly. Like we're at Blockbuster every fucking week. Like
Blockbuster was dead by the time that I was
oh yeah,
sleepover age, you know? And my friends would always make fun of me because we would put on Yes Man and it would just play on repeat.
Yeah.
And you would wake up in the middle of the night
and it's still going.
to the menu playing.
What was it about the like very early 2000s that it was like there was always a movie that was just like the sleepover movie, and then you would just keep it on and you would wake up to the menu. For us, it was like Shrek 2 or like the live action Scooby-Doo.
Nobody liked Yes Man.
It's not a very good movie.
I think take that back.
It's not very good. It's weird.
Yeah, but like that's the point. It's a scary movie.
Has a sex with that really old lady.
Well, yeah, but it's because he realizes that his life is boring and he wants to change it.
I get that.
That movie, there's a big
draw a line.
So I play guitar. I use that term very loosely. There's the song Jumper.
Yeah.
I forgot who sings that song.
And I remember the scene. It's Third Eye Blind.
Is it Third Eye Blind?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I learned that song on guitar so that when that scene would come on, because it would come on so often during sleepovers, I could play along.
Yes. Honestly, that was a great scene. That was probably the best scene of the whole movie, because he's literally trying to save The guy from
Yeah.
jumping off of a bridge or wherever he is.
It was out of a apartment building.
Yeah.
I would know because I've seen it 200
So many times. I think I saw it twice.
We would do that. And then we also, my friend Anna Grace would bring her laptop over and she had The Sims 3 on her laptop.
Okay.
And so we would because for some reason we'd have to restart every time. She probably deleted our saves because she hated me. She didn't. But we'd all make ourselves in the same household. And for some reason, my sim would always do one of two things. It would either, one, find a fucking children's toy box and pull out toy bunnies and leave them all over the house. Or two, she would go play guitar in the city and there would be lines of hundreds of people lining up to pay me money for singing guitar in the city.
You know, the other thing we did, which I was a fucking theater geek, is that we would like turn on our favorite Broadway soundtrack at the time and like lip sync to it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
We would do that. We sure would. Wicked was the main one. We watched Rent together at one point. Yeah, that was fun. All right, so in true sleepover slumber party fashion, I've got some fun things for us here. So I have some rose eye gels.
Ooh.
Here's some for you.
Okay.
Is your skin gonna be okay with this? Your skin did not like our last
figure it out.
masks.
It's fine.
These are slightly less invasive. They just go under your eyes. Oh, these look nice, actually.
Oh, they're slimy. How do we get them out?
Oh, yeah, I didn't. Oh.
Oh, it's so cold. People do this for fun.
Ooh, those feel nice. All right, so we've got our eye patches on. Last episode, we had some lip smackers. Let's pick a new flavor.
A new one.
Do you want the pina colada?
If you like pina coladas.
It's also, look how pink that is.
That is
That's a
super
good
pink.
pink. That's a good pink. I just finished watching, which if you follow us on social media, you'll know, I just finished watching Chimp Crazy. And boy, do that girl love pink. Everything was so fucking pink. Like,
Kind of live for it.
oh, it was a vibe.
We're doing this in honor of Tanya.
Tanya Haddix.
Wasn't that her name?
Yeah, it was Tanya.
Okay.
Yeah, because I just finished it like 2 nights ago, so it's fresh in my mind. Yeah. For Tanya and Tonka.
You ever think about that song, Pina Colada song?
The one we were just singing?
Yeah.
Yes.
You ever think about like what it actually means, like what they're talking about?
Yeah, because it's two people who have decided they'd like to cheat on one another, and they end up just like, oh my god, they're like sliding down your face. It's so far down your face. Mine are too though. I just gotta keep kind of like, don't pick. Wait, why'd you put it so far in where it's don't pick it up. Just like scooch it. Why'd you put it so? Now it's on your nose. It's not a nose patch. Stop! Oh my fucking god!
I'm trying to think.
You're doing horrible.
You like pina colada.
But it's like two people decide they want to cheat on each other, and then they end up finding each other in the local ad, and they're like, "Oh, we're both garbage. I love you."
Craigslist. I didn't know you like pina coladas or getting lost in the rain.
So I have another activity, but I'm going to save that one. But just
If it gets too dark.
just keep in mind there's an activity planned.
Great.
All right. So this episode, like we said, it's Slumber Party edition. If you're not watching, we are wearing pink on pink on pink. We are drinking pink.
What makes a slumber party?
We're going to go to bed soon.
Oh.
You're right. What makes a slumber party? The thing is, slumber parties are for the girls. They're for the girlies.
What is a slumber party?
Okay.
A party, typically for preteen or teenage girls, in which all the guests spend the night at the house where the party is held.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
So now, apparently it's North American.
So Casey cannot pick you up later. You have to... It's North American
That's what-
specifically?
That's what it says. John, if you're listening in the UK, did you have a slumber party? And if so, did you wear pink and use face masks? I know you're listening.
Haley's fucking eye patches are so far down her face.
Oh my god. Okay.
Stop peeling them off. On her mouth and she's stuck. So slumber parties.
North American. Oh god.
Eye patches. I can't. So anyways, slumber parties for the girlies.
Oh, for the show. Yeah.
And we have a topic.
Oh,
for the girlies.
We have a topic.
Yes, that's the thing. So this is Slumber Party edition. It's a special edition. Maybe you should just take them off.
No, they stay on the whole time. And then I eat them at the end.
Okay, thank you. So we're gonna do a combined a split topic. We're gonna do this together.
Just like gymnasts, we're doing the splits.
Exactly. So we're gonna. Anyways,
That's 6 minutes of episode we have to cut out. If you or a loved one is a woman, there is one thing that you want. Birthday, Christmas, anniversary.
you're out there shopping and you're like, I need to buy a girl a gift for my girlfriend or my sister or whatever. I need to buy my girlfriend a gift. What do I get her? There is one thing. There's one thing that every
One
girl
thing.
wants. There's one thing that every fucking girl wants.
Mm-hmm.
And we're about to tell you. So get ready. A lobotomy.
You heard that right, motherfuckers. We're putting ice picks in your skull.
Yep. That's for the girlies.
Wish that brain all around.
It's what we've been begging for our whole lives. Give me a fucking lobotomy.
Well, Harmony,
Yes?
what the fuck is a lobotomy?
Let me fucking tell you. All right, so a lobotomy, also called a leucotomy, is a type of psychosurgery that was used.
Is it appropriate to do this with the snails on our head?
Yes.
Okay.
Even listen, Haley and I started recording the mini episode that's going to come out the week before this. We started recording that before this one because we do 2 recordings at a time. And we, if you weren't there for that one, we made some little vodka cosmopolitans. I've only had half one. Haley's had a full one. It's rough out here.
I'm here for a long time.
Not a good
time.
All right, lobotomy, also called a leucotomy, is a type of psychosurgery that was used to treat mental health conditions such as mood disorders and schizophrenia. Psychosurgeries are procedures that involve the physical removal or alteration of a part of the brain.
Ew.
Exactly. Lobotomies involve separating tissue in an area called the prefrontal cortex in one of 2 primary ways. Really quickly, if you don't know what a lobotomy is, and I just said prefrontal cortex, we're talking about the brain. We're talking about sticking something into your fucking brain that they did in the mid-1900s as they thought was a legitimate thing that you could do to treat these mental illnesses.
Yeah.
So we're going to tell you about it, but just like keep in mind, this is fucking bonkers. And you're going to want one.
Now.
So 2 ways that you can do a lobotomy.
Yeah.
Frontal lobotomy. So this is when a surgeon drilled a hole into each side of the skull and cut through brain tissue with an instrument resembling an ice pick called a leucotomy. You heard me, yes? We're drilling into both sides of our head, into our brain, to make sure you're not depressed anymore.
Well, you could be said no one.
Good with the holes in it.
Maybe too many problems. What's too many questions?
So that's the first one.
Okay.
The second one's worse.
Yep.
Transorbital lobotomy. Orbital, eyes.
Eyeball.
A surgeon inserted a leucotomy through the eye socket and drove it through a thin layer of bone with a mallet to access the brain.
So, I'm sorry, really quick question. So, the tool was called a leucotomy as well?
So it's spelled with an E on the end?
Leucotome?
Yeah, maybe it's leucotome? That seems weird.
I don't know, because leucotomy is spelled with a Y, so I think
Right.
leucotome would make sense.
You could be right. It could be a leucotome.
Yeah, I did. It's interesting because when I was doing research, I didn't see a specific name for the tool.
Let's do a quick Google.
Go for it.
Let's do a googly woogly.
I love doing a googly woogly. Great googly moogly.
Oh, oogly moogly. That
Thing is juicy.
thing is juicy. That's what it is.
I can't feel my ears.
Do you want to take the headband off?
No.
Okay. You could at least put it behind your ears.
It's not a headband.
No more for you.
Leucotome.
You were right. Leucotome. Okay.
Okay.
So,
It's interesting. I mean, granted, my research was more on like the who invented it.
yeah.
So it's called a leucotome.
It's called a leucotome, so that was my bad. So a leucotomy is a similar word for lobotomy.
Okay.
A leucotome is the tool they used for a transorbital lobotomy. And I guess they use it also for a frontal.
Okay.
So if you're not familiar with I'm sure you are, like an ice pick. So you've got a sharp tool in the giant thing of ice, and then you've got a mallet to hit the top of the pick into the ice to shave off some ice. We are kind of doing that into the eyeballs of the brain.
The eyeballs of the brain.
The eyeballs of the brain.
Not the eyeballs. The eyeballs of the brain.
The eyeballs and the brain.
Okay.
And the eyeballs in your brain, because you got 2 eyeballs in your brain as well.
There was a monster show. I think it was just called Monster, something like that. I don't know. But it was a sci-fi show, kind of like Twilight Zone. And there was an episode where a guy, they did brain surgery on him and they cut into his brain, in the center of his brain, and he had an eyeball.
Ew.
It freaked me out so bad. And it turned out that he had like absorbed his twin or something in the womb. Like it literally, I had
That's
nightmares.
a good monster, though.
I had nightmares.
It's a horrible monster. But yeah, so a leucotome, the tool that they would use for these, it looks kind of like a syringe, and it's got the two like finger loops on either side. Big fucking needle.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrible. Do a quick Google if you'd like. So these were in the mid 1900s as this surgery started. I don't even know if I'd call it a surgery. It's a procedure.
It's a procedure.
Like, because you're not necessarily cutting anything. Like, you kind of are cutting anything open, but you're just drilling straight into versus.
Yeah, like the frontal lobotomy is a surgery. The transorbital lobotomy is a procedure.
Yeah, it's because it could take, you said 10 minutes or less or something.
For the
like
transorbital,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, like it's insane. So lobotomies are, thankfully, no longer a trusted source performed in the US. They began to fall out of favor in the 1950s and the 60s with development of antipsychotic medications. Sorry, I think it's more like late 1960s. But like as the antipsychotics started becoming popular in the 1950s, it replaced the need for this horrible fucking procedure, which is great. Medication, much better than hole in brain. So the last recorded lobotomy in the U.S. was performed by Dr. Walter Freeman, who we're going to talk about, in 1967. That one did end in the death of a person who was performed on. And in Europe, the Soviet Union banned lobotomies in 1950.
Oh my God, so we're behind the Soviet Union.
We sure fucking were.
Great.
But they did persist into the 1970s, as we said. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that is what is a lobotomy. Now tell me, Haley, why was it done?
Sure. So mental health disorders were deemed untreatable with medication or regular remedies, such as schizophrenia.
Mm-hmm.
They were done to treat that. Quote, the purpose of the operation was to reduce the symptoms of mental disorders, and it was recognized that this was accomplished at the expense of a person's personality and intellect.
We're going to get more into that about like why they would like expense of a person's personality and intellect. That's important. Like we're going to talk more about that.
You're but you're fundamentally killing who that person is.
Yes. So that they can not feel depressed or whatever, which now we thankfully have a lot of resources that can help with that.
Or to make them more able to fit into society or easy to handle.
That's the thing too, is like in the 50s, 60s, 70s, really honestly up until the last like 15, 20 years, people with mental health disorders, and not just like the ones that are very visual, but like depression, people who are socially awkward or whatever, like that doesn't fit in with the normal way that people want to be seen. And so the people who are quote unquote normal, which no one's normal, quote unquote normal, you're hanging out with them. Like, if you don't fit into what they expect you to fit into, that makes them uncomfortable. And they want to make sure everyone feels comfortable. So let's just go ahead and put something in that person's brain to make sure everyone else feels comfortable around that person who's already uncomfortable in their own skin.
Yeah, even if you are uncomfortable, your uncomfort is, they're willing to sacrifice that for their own comfort.
Exactly. Yeah.
So following the operation, spontaneity, responsiveness, self-awareness, and self-control were reduced. The activity was replaced by inertia, and people were mostly left emotionally blunted and restricted in their intellectual range.
Emotionally blunted. Yeah. That part is wild.
British psychiatrist Maurice Partridge, who conducted a follow-up study of over 300 patients, said the treatment achieved its effects by, quote, reducing the complexity of psychic life.
I mean, that's basically just saying that you're simplifying what your brain can do.
Yes, exactly. Like, you are no longer able to process or engage with the world fundamentally on a psychological level that you were previously able to do.
And therefore, yes, it can alleviate some of those mental health issues that you're having, depression, anxiety, whatever, because you're no longer at a level where you think about that shit anymore. And so, like, people might say, because there are successful, and we're going to talk about it, there are successful stories of lobotomies. And so people might say, like, I feel better now.
Yeah, like the lobotomy helped me fold my laundry.
Literally. And there's sometimes when we're reading this that I'm like, man, do I need one of those?
A little. Like, man, I overthink shit so much in my fucking life, dude.
God, yes.
I would love to be able to turn my brain off for 30 minutes. Give me a lobotomy.
Yep. And not just like, Yep.
Like D.D. Ramone wrote, I want to be sedated. 2024, I want to go. I want to be sedated. So the use of the procedure increased dramatically from the early 1940s into the 1950s. By 1951, over 20,000 lobotomies had been performed in the United States and proportionally more in the UK.
It's wild.
And
That's so
most,
many.
oh my God, I know, it's crazy. And as I'm sure we can fucking guess, most lobotomies were performed on women. A 1951 study found that nearly 60% of American lobotomy patients were women. Limited data shows that 74% of lobotomies in Ontario, Canada, from 1948 to 1952 were performed on female patients.
Yeah, because it's more disruptive for a woman to be hysterical or whatever.
Yeah.
And we need women to, at that time, they needed to do whatever, do their job, support their husband, sit in the corner, look pretty. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think we've talked about it too. You and I made jokes about it. Back in the 50s and 60s, women would just be given sedatives.
Yes.
You would just get medication and you would take your little pink pills and you would do your housework and that's it.
Yep, exactly. That gets into the side note that I wrote right after this. Have you and I talked about how in this around this time, 50s, 60s, women who were given the title of being hysterical, probably women who were on their period or just generally trying to live through this misogynistic time period, would go to their doctor so that they could be given a fucking orgasm.
Wasn't that earlier than the 50s and 60s?
Oh, it might have been. This was a side note plucked straight from my brain, not from the internet. So, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I think it was actually Victorian era.
Oh, it was really old.
Yes.
But it would be to give the woman a relief of from the hysterics, just a quick little orgasm.
Let's go to Wikipedia real quick. I'm sorry. I'm on the Wikipedia page about it's female hysteria. And this one paragraph, this isn't what I was thinking of, but it fucking cracks me up. In 1875, Edward Hammond Clark wrote Sex in Education, a book discussing his views on men and women's education. Clark believed that if women were educated, the energy in their bodies would go to the brain instead of their reproductive organs, hindering childbirth. He cited clothing, food, exercise, and education as causes of, quote, leukorrhea, amenorrhea, dysmenorrhea, chronic and acute ovariitis, prolapsus uteri, hysteria, neuralgia. Clark believed that women came into the world fully developed, while women did not, and that imposing men's education upon women would worsen their problem. His views were condemned by many women's organizations.
The whole time I'm listening to that, I'm like, were you meant to be British?
Thank you.
Why does it work?
I know, right?
It works.
I should do voiceovers for the BBC.
The BBC.
The BBC! Water bottle! Bottle of water! Oh my gosh. Until the 1920s, so before the 1920s, during the late 1800s to the early 1900s, physicians administered pelvic massages involving clitoral stimulation by electronic vibrators as treatments for what they called female hysteria.
Yes. Okay, so it was way earlier than I was saying.
That's fine. You still knew. It's not like you... Yeah.
But yeah. Wait. Electronic vibrators in the fucking Victorian area?
Yeah.
Era?
Yeah. The Victorians were down and fucking dirty.
Oh, I just didn't... How did they have an electronic vibrator?
Electricity. When do you think electricity was invented, Harmony?
I don't remember. Don't.
Harmony, who tied a string from a
Benjamin
kite?
Franklin.
When was he alive?
I want to say late 1700s.
Early 1700s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did that in 1750.
But it took a long time for them to hook that up to household items.
I don't disagree, but yeah, no, they had.
I thought
people figured out how to get freaky deaky early onsie onesies. All right.
Oh, absolutely. That's been happening for a long time. Anyways, that was a side note. It's not about lobotomies. It's just an interesting thing about history and women and hysteria.
Pack your body bags. We're going on a slaycation. Tim, what's a slaycation?
A slaycation is a murder or mysterious death that happens while you're on vacation.
If you like to mix humor with horror and travel,
join me, Kim Davis,
and me, Adam Tex Davis,
and me, Jerry Colbert,
as we look at the craziest slaycations that will have you asking, what the F is wrong with people? You can find Slaycation on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
Just remember, getting away can be murder.
All right, so
do we want to take a break and do a little ad lib? Mad lib?
So maybe.
Oh, yeah?
So I might have maybe possibly had a little activity planned for this Slumber Party edition.
Just to break it up.
If you were like me,
Yeah.
when you had some slumber parties in the late, I almost said the late 1900s, which that is correct.
The late
but,
1900s,
it made me
yes.
sound really old. The 90s.
The late 1900s.
You played Mad Libs, and I found a sleepover party Mad Libs, and nothing has changed about the design on this, and I just love it so much.
That's really cute.
It's really freaking cute. I used to love Mad Libs so much. So,
Okay.
do you want to tell me first, and I fill them in?
Yes.
Let's do it. Okay. So let me pick one first.
Okay. Should I close my eyes?
No, you don't need to close your eyes.
Oh.
I'm not going to show you anything.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's the other thing is Haley hasn't played this before.
Yeah.
Which is wild to me because we used to play all the time. Lee, if you're listening, my cousin, we used to play Mad Libs so much. We had so much fun with it.
And John David Griffiths, if you're listening, I know who you are.
First things first, do you know the difference between an adjective
An adjective and an adverb?
and a noun and a verb?
Yes.
A place and an explanation or a
Yes.
silly word and a part of the body, an animal and a plural?
For the most part, yeah.
Great.
I don't know what a body part is.
Same. Let's dance.
Oh, great. Let's dance.
Okay.
Just like the David Bowie song,
let's dance.
Infamous Nazi.
Put on your
And dance the blues.
Such a good song. All right. Give me an adjective.
Crazy.
Plural noun.
Lobotomies.
Number.
1,756.
Great number. Plural noun.
Canines.
Adjective.
Wackadoodle.
Okay. Adverb.
Fast. Fastly. I don't know.
No, fast is, yeah. It's
Fast.
great.
Okay.
Adjective.
Weird.
Great adjective.
Thank you.
Some might argue the best. Noun.
Leucotome.
Okay. A past tense verb.
Sprinted.
Okay. Part of the body.
Pinky toe.
Oh, that's a good one. Person in room?
That's you.
That would just be me.
Harmony.
Okay. Unless there's someone else. Is there anyone here? Adjective?
Wacky.
You already said
Yeah, well, okay. Well, hold up.
Okay.
Leafy.
Leafy's good. I like Leafy.
Okay.
Number?
12,760,000.
I'm just going to say 12 million. All right, I'll do that. So,
No, don't worry about it.
the way I wrote that is very funny.
Don't worry about it.
Why did I put a dot
Take
in there?
my freedom away from me.
Part of the body, again.
Tongue.
Oh, okay. Adverb.
Warily.
Warily. Okay.
Yeah.
Adjective.
Lucidly. I don't know if that's a word, but we've come up with
I think
it.
it is. Plural noun.
Dancers.
Adverb.
Quickly. Did I already do quickly?
You did fast.
Adverb.
There's a lot of
adverb.
fast things in here. You also had sprinted.
I don't know. I can't think of adverbs anymore. Oh my God, Stephen King.
They
help
don't
me.
exist.
Slowly.
Okay. Plural noun. We're almost done.
Dogs.
Great. Different from canines.
Yeah.
Noun.
Cat.
Okay. And last one. Part of the body, but plural.
Boobs.
Incredible. All right.
Great.
Drum roll, please.
Drum roll too hard.
She's knocked this
Oh my
line off.
God, I'm so sorry.
All right. Mad Libs. Let's dance. Are you about to? Oh, okay. Are you gonna drink that? That's mine, bitch. Oh my fucking God.
Well, you're not drinking it.
I have been. No, go.
No, don't worry about it.
No, I
Take
want
your
this one.
glass back.
I'm gonna fill my own.
What if I want my own fill?
Oh my fucking God. All right,
Nice.
I'm gonna read this now.
Okay.
At my crazy sleepover party, my best lobotomies and I decided to have a dance off.
Okay.
We made 10,756-year-old little sister be the judge.
What?
We broke into two teams, the canines and the wackadoodle dancers. My team danced fast, but the other team's weird moves were out of this leucotome. They totally outsprinted us. So when no one was looking, I grabbed my sister by the pinky toe and pulled her aside.
You don't do that to your sister.
Harmony, I whispered, I promise to do all of your leafy chores for 12,760,000 months. If you say that my team won. My sister shook her tongue. No way!
Yeah, how do you shake your tongue?
She said wearily, "Your team danced worse than a bunch of lucidly dancers." What does that mean? I think it should have just been lucid. "Fine," I said. "Then I'll just have to tell all of my friends that you're slowly afraid of dogs."
Not canines. Dog.
That helped change her cat. "We won the contest." Boobs down.
Boobs down. All right. No bras.
Boobs down. We won the contest.
Boobs down. Tits out.
Ooh.
So that's a Mad Lib.
That is a Mad Lib.
I think that deserves a drink.
All right.
Okay.
Haley,
Yeah.
who invented lobotomies?
Sure. So that's a little bit of a complicated answer. 'Cause
Okay.
we see it pop up a few different times. So the very beginnings of the lobotomy can actually be seen when looking at the work of Swiss physician Gottlieb Burckhardt.
Ugh, a classic name.
Yeah, the most Swiss name in the world. And he worked in an insane asylum in the 1880s.
Okay.
He was documented removing parts of the brain cortex in 6 patients suffering from hallucinations and other mental illnesses, which had symptoms that we would now define as schizophrenia. His goal was to make it easier to handle these patients.
That's the ultimate goal, not for the patient's better life, but to make it easier for you to handle them.
Yeah, the ultimate goal is to make the patients easier on society,
Exactly.
not for the patients to live good lives.
Exactly.
You are 1,000% correct.
Yep.
So out of these 6 patients, one patient died due to the procedure. Another patient committed suicide later in life, though we can't attribute that to the procedure specifically. But other patients were, quote, easier to manage.
Okay.
He was actually inspired by a German physiologist, Friedrich Goltz, who had...
It's actually Friedrich Goltz. Sorry.
You okay?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
What? Do you feel like I need a lobotomy?
Yes.
Just like a really quick one.
You're like a little too rebellious for me.
Just like real quick, poke something in my eye.
Yeah.
Please,
like
dear
a little
God.
sewing needle and just,
fear God.
Fear
Thank God.
Put the fear of God in that brain.
Wow, we're doing great. Okay.
Thank you. So Gottlieb Burckhardt was inspired by a German physiologist named Friedrich Goltz, who had experimented on removing the brain tissue from dogs and seeing how it would change their behavior. Later
Why is
on,
it worse about doing it on the dogs than the
Dude,
people?
right? Dude, seriously.
Leave those babies alone.
I don't know any better. I don't know. It's
They don't have any money.
they could pay you in rocks.
Yeah.
It's something about the innocence of a dog, I feel.
Yeah,
that,
it
like,
truly
really
is.
makes it
Because
feel-
they're there because they love you and they trust you.
Yeah. But later on, in 1935, 2 American neuroscientists were actually working on an experiment involving the frontal lobe ablations in chimpanzees. So
Right.
frontal lobe ablation is removing sections of the frontal lobe.
We don't need those.
We really don't, dude. I mean, it doesn't develop until we're like 25, so who
Who
cares?
fucking needs it?
So they gave the monkeys tests before and after the surgery. They noticed before the surgery that if the monkeys failed the test, they'd become angry and agitated. After the surgery, the monkeys, well, one of the monkeys wouldn't be quite as angry at the failure. One of them was noted as being elated and peaceful, as if she had joined, quote, a peace cult. The other monkey, yes, a monkey. The other monkey had become angry and violent. She would have outbursts at these failures. And the discovery of these frontal lobe ablations was presented at a 1935 like neuroscience sort of like fair or convention, I guess you could say.
Okay.
And the results that were presented at this fair directly inspired Dr. Agus Moniz, a quote, brain surgeon from Portugal. He was amazed at the changes in the monkeys and focused almost exclusively on the one monkey that had become more peaceful. Because, of course.
Yeah, we're doing great. There's definitely no need in a scientific experiment to check on all of the participants and the different outcomes.
And it doesn't matter if there's only 2 people or 2 monkeys, 2 critters. Like, that's enough for us to say this will totally work on humans.
Yeah, let's just stick a needle in someone's eyeball real quick.
So he was the one who began calling this a leucotomy, this removal of tissue from the brain. And in that same year, in 1935, he developed his own version of it and performed it on a 63-year-old woman who was diagnosed with depression, anxiety, paranoia, hallucinations, and insomnia.
Same.
Right? Allegedly, this patient recovered well from the procedure and was, quote, well-oriented. But during the testing phase, this whole time, like he tried it on about 40 different patients, he determined that the results were good enough to bring this procedure to the rest of the world, claiming, quote, prefrontal leucotomy is a simple operation. It's always safe. It may prove to be an effective surgical treatment in certain cases of mental disorder. He had only 40 patients under his care, and he was like, yeah, this is enough data to show to the world, like, this is the newest
That is
and greatest
such
and
a
best thing.
little... Nowadays, we hope, at least, when you are performing something new or a new medicine or something, I mean, it's years. It took us how long to get the fucking COVID vaccine?
A couple of years, yeah.
Like, yeah.
And that was rushed.
Right, exactly.
But this is the kind of stuff that got us to where we are now, where stuff is a lot more rigorously tested.
You're not wrong. It had to be done wrong first, unfortunately, as a lot of things.
And now we have all sorts of stuff about, like, oh, you got to make sure you pick people that are not weird. And weird is like white, ethnically monogamous. I don't remember the other ones. And one's like college educated.
Well, yeah.
Like the people that tend to volunteer for these things all tend to be of a certain demographic. And now scientists know that not everybody responds the same because of genetic differences. And we have to make sure that we have a diverse group whenever it comes to testing medications.
Exactly. Well, I saw a video, granted it wasn't a doctor, but I saw a video of someone talking about, like, they do sleep studies and they say that you need, 8 hours of sleep. And it was like all of those were done on men, primarily white men. It's like, we're not doing these on women. And then they finally have done studies on women, and women need more sleep than men.
Yeah.
Like,
and we see similar stuff too. I mean, even within the studies that focus on women, sorry for men that are listening, there's like 3 of you maybe. Tampons, the amount of fluid that they found could be held by tampon was only determined by soaking it in water, not blood.
They're the same, I think. Yeah. It should be fine.
No.
Ship it.
Water of the womb is thicker than the blood of the covenant, or whatever the fuck that saying
Yeah,
is.
exactly.
I don't remember.
What? I don't.
Blood is thicker than water, or whatever the fucking...
Period blood is thicker than margaritas, exactly.
Is it? I think you should drink more margaritas.
I think you should drink more. Nope, not saying that.
Great, thank you. Yeah, like we know now that 40 is not a large enough case study.
No.
And fun fact, Mr. Igues Moniz was given the Nobel Peace Prize for his discovery in 1949.
For testing on 40 people, Nobel Peace Prize. All right.
Yeah. But hey, as expected of a white man, Walter Jackson Freeman took Moniz's invention and made it his own, giving it the new name of lobotomy. He also did change the procedure, and he's the one that took it from a frontal lobotomy to a preorbital lobotomy.
Okay.
And he made it more of what we know today as like the ice pick, knocked in,
lobotomy.
scrambled the brains like an egg, and thus it became in vogue in the U.S. With the help of neurosurgeon James Watts, Walter Freeman was able to give direction, because Walter Freeman was not a neurosurgeon. He was just like a neuroscientist. So he didn't even do them himself. And
these are really fucking different.
They are. He had James Watts performing the procedure under Walter Freeman's direction. And they did it on a U.S. housewife named Alice Hood Hammett. And by 1942, James Watts and Walter Freeman, working together, had performed over 200 lobotomies.
Holy shit.
Yep.
All right. Tell me, how was it performed?
Sure. So we mentioned there are 2 different lobotomies, and there are 2 different ways to perform those 2 different lobotomies, for a total of 2 different ways to perform
2. Dose.
So we have the frontal lobotomy, which is what Igues Moniz invented, which is where holes will be bored into the sides of the patient's head, and they would be injecting ethyl alcohol into the prefrontal cortex to destroy that.
That's the part that honestly freaks me out more than drilling.
Really?
You're putting a fucking liquid in there?
Wow.
They're both horrible. They're both horrible, but like thinking the thought of like putting ethyl alcohol into your brain, like that's just like...
Yeah. I know, I get that. It is a little crazy. And this patient will be under general anesthesia for this, so they would be completely knocked out.
Thank God.
And a little fun, 2 fun facts. Number 1, go onto Wikipedia and type in frontal lobotomy, and you'll get a beautiful image of them performing a lobotomy that I was so confused by, and I stared at it for 30 seconds, and then I had to zoom in, and I was like, what am I? Oh my God, that's someone's brain.
Yep.
It was very unnerving.
There's so many photos of this. Like, we'll post a lot of them, and I'll probably put them throughout the video, but like,
it's crazy.
There's a lot of photos, like up close and center.
And the other fun fact that it's mind-blowing to me, and I'm surprised that you hadn't heard of this before, but humans have been drilling holes into each other's heads since like 200 AD. The first account is seen in the Hippocratic Corpus, which is the oldest surviving Western scientific or medical writing.
Wow.
And the tools used to drill holes into people's heads really haven't changed that much. They're basically the same.
200 AD?
Yep.
Like, what?
Yeah, and it's funny because the first person that found a skull that had a hole bored into it, and it was like half an inch, which isn't, I mean, that's a big enough hole for your fucking skull.
Yeah.
But they had it, and it was from the Aztecs, and they were like, what the fuck is this? And they like researched and dug around and were like, oh my gosh, I think that they did this as a medical procedure, and I think this person survived. And they presented it at a lecture in the UK, and people thought he was making it up. They thought
because yes,
he
sounds.
Yeah, it's insane. So he was like, no, I'm not making this up. And he did more research, and then he brought it over to people in the US, presented it there, and people in the US were also like, you're making this shit up. But yeah, it's been this whole thing. There have been accounts of people where like you have a pounding headache, you think your humor's out of whack, or like your head hurts so bad. What do? You drill a fucking hole into your brain to relieve the pressure. And this was done all the way up until like the 1600s.
Absolutely insane. You'd think we've come so far in humanity, and then it's like we keep repeating these weird fucking shit. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the frontal lobotomy.
Okay.
The transorbital lobotomy, that's the one that was invented by Dr. Freeman, who we mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And this procedure allowed him to perform lobotomies without the use of anesthesia. He would use...
Whoa.
Yeah. He used electroconvulsive therapy to induce seizures in his patients, and then would perform the lobotomy. Because he's not...
while they're seizing?
They would be like seized, and their bodies would be non-responsive, basically.
So you're almost in like a comatose state.
Yep.
So
no anesthesia.
They could have equally had effects from that too.
Yep.
From being electroshocked, because that was a thing too in like mental health asylums, called insane asylums, was electroshock therapy and just shocking the fuck out of them, making them have seizures, and then they have all these fucking brain problems afterwards. Like, so you're doing that, and then you're putting a fucking ice pick into their eyeball.
Yeah.
Woo! Okay.
So after they had kind of gone under, which once again, this is no anesthesia, it's just seizure induced, a long nail-like instrument would be inserted into the eye socket, and a mallet would be used to knock the nail through the orbital roof, which is the thin part of the skull located behind the eyeball. Once it was in, the doctor would, quote, strategically move the instrument around to mush up all that gray matter.
Ooh.
Helen Culmer, a woman who worked in a mental hospital as a nurse, and by the way, she, during this interview, lived in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, which is where Mothman is seen initially.
Is she Mothman?
Did she see Mothman?
Have we seen them in the same room before?
She's Mothman. But she did an interview where she spoke about working with Dr. Freeman during a bout of lobotomies in her area. Quote, he came and I held the patient's head and he did the lobotomy. He had an instrument. To me, it looked like a nail, a great big nail. It had a sharp point, and he inserted this in the corner of the individual's eye and banged it with a mallet, I guess it was. Which, right there, that word banged it with a mallet. Like, that doesn't sound precise. It doesn't sound gentle. It sounds like a...
No, that's what I used to put the like Halloween decorations in my front yard.
Yeah. And then he pulled it from one side and pulled to the other side. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to watch. I know that day we lost one patient because they couldn't stop bleeding. I can't remember if any others died.
Oh, but if you're not watching the video, the whole time I've been like freaking the fuck out. Like,
it's
my
gruesome.
hands have been all over my face, just like,
It is. It's gnarly.
And like when you're the people who are in these insane asylums at the time, they're kind of thrown in there because people can't take care of them or don't want to or don't want to deal with that. So like no one's checking in on them.
Yeah.
Like I shouldn't say no one. I'm sure there are some that people were checking on them, but generally speaking, they were kind of dumped there and people were not checking in.
Right.
So they were kind of free to do this shit.
Care back then is not what it is now. And care now in a mental asylum is still lacking in many, many places.
It's much better, but it's, especially like the state-supported centers. Yeah.
But how did these lobotomies turn out?
That's a question for me. I can answer that.
Yeah? I'm glad.
I thought you were like asking introspectively.
How did they turn out?
Let me tell you. So lobotomies were considered experimental even at the height of their popularity.
Okay.
The person you were just talking about who's performing all these, I'm sure he would disagree with you, but like disagree with me. But like these were absolutely experimental because the tests were done on 40 people.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I just took a sip and that was like...
Put some water in there. Put some ice in there, something. Put some micellar water in there.
He needs some milk. Oh my Lord.
I don't know how much ice is in
There's no ice. Oh, I'm fucked. Great.
Put some of your water in there.
Good idea. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So...
I should do this for Christmas. We should make eggnog.
Okay.
Great.
I've actually never drank eggnog before.
I had it only recently.
Yeah?
Yes.
Did you like it?
I did.
Interesting.
It's like a thicker White Russian.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like
Creamier.
Yeah.
How realistic are the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park? My name is Dan, host of Based on a True Story, the podcast that compares your favorite Hollywood movies with history. I had a chat with the paleontologist who consulted on all the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies to find out the real history behind the dinosaurs we see in the movies. And it doesn't stop there. From Indiana Jones and Pirates of the Caribbean to Saving Private Ryan and Tombstone, if you've ever wondered how much of your favorite movies really happened, head on over to basedonatruestorypodcast.com to find out. Once again, that's basedonatruestorypodcast.com.
Actually, you know what? Before I get into this, should we take another Mad Lib break?
Sure.
And now it's your turn.
Okay, great.
Can I pick the one, though?
No.
Okay.
No, give it here. We'll do the same thing that I did. All right. I got to pick mine where I'm...
Page number... Pick page number 9.
Okay. Want to know the title of it?
Yes.
Pranks for Nothing.
Oh! What if I can't remember what an adjective is?
I will shoot you.
Thank you.
Speaking of, adjective.
Hairy.
Adjective.
Squishy.
Plural noun.
Pumpkin seeds.
Adjective.
What are you saying?
I'm sorry.
That's funny.
I'm sorry.
Can
I take these eye patches off?
Yeah. Give me. Or unless you want to eat them. Oh my God, stop. Stop.
I can't eat them? No. Why not?
Insane. Okay, adjective. Juicy.
Ooh. Plural noun.
Vampires.
Ooh. Plural noun.
Another one?
Yes.
Snails.
Ooh. These are all really good.
Thank you.
Adjective.
Stinky.
Stinky. Verb ending in ing.
Ooh. Scrambling.
Noun.
Mustard.
Noun.
Cigarette.
Adjective.
Wrinkly.
Noun.
Honeycrisp apple.
Adjective.
Annoying.
Great. Me or like, is that your...
Yeah.
Okay. Part of the body.
Nostril.
Adjective.
Chunky.
Plural noun.
Horseshoes.
Part of the body, plural.
Belly buttons.
Adjective.
Slimy.
Part of the body, plural.
Kneecaps.
Color.
Chartreuse.
Are you ready?
Ready? Oh no, she marked on her pink pajamas with a blue marker.
My jammies.
Jammies. Jammy whammies.
Jimmy whammies, banana feta whammies, jammies.
Exactly, those.
I'll never get them back.
No.
You ready?
I'm ready. Read my Mad Libs.
Pranks for nothing. Whenever my hairy sister and her squishy pumpkin seeds have a sleepover party, I love to play juicy pranks on them. One time I put gummy vampires in everyone's sleeping snails. They thought they were stinky bugs, and they were out of their scrambling bags in record time. Another time, I hid all the rolls of mustard paper in the trunk of Dad's cigarette, not knowing that Dad, a wrinkly doctor, was on duty in the Honeycrisp apple that night. But the most annoying prank of all time was when I replaced all of the nostril paste with chunky icing. When my sister's horseshoes brushed their belly buttons with it, the slimy looks on their kneecaps were priceless. But the chartreuse icing all over their teeth was even better. Can I be so? We talked briefly about. I had a Nickelodeon's magazine that I got. Like I had like 3 of them. I thought Mad Libs. I thought you were supposed to fill in the missing word.
Oh, just like think of the word?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
So I did that with all of them.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah. Also, I still think about they had Nickelodeon magazine had like an article one time that was like the history of dolls, and they talked about how Bratz dolls were found in the Egyptian times, and I was convinced that it was real.
Oh my God.
Nickelodeon was like Mad magazine, but for, like younger kids.
I remember that.
I had no. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I thought it was true. And I told a girl at school, and she said I was lying. And it turns out I wasn't lying. I was just stupid and gullible. Speaking of stupid and gullible,
Honestly, Wrinkly Doctor is my favorite thing.
On duty at the Honeycrisp Apple.
What was the thing about kneecaps?
When my sister's horseshoes brushed their belly buttons with it, the slimy looks on their kneecaps were priceless.
All right, give me that.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
That was fun.
See, it's fun, right?
Yeah, good way to break up the tension.
Oh, yeah. All right. So let's talk about the results of a lobotomy.
Get all the swig of the soul vodka.
Oh my God, that's so full. There's just like a floating cranberry in there. So.
Oh, it tastes so bad. Why do I keep doing it?
It's honestly so rude. It was so expensive. It was from the highest tier place that you could buy products.
Home Goods. Oh, wait. TJ Maxx?
I would literally never buy anything from Home Goods. I am so above that. It was definitely not from Home Goods, and I definitely didn't peel the sticker off of it in time for this podcast.
My stomach is making the same face that my face makes when you taste something sour. It's like that's scrunched up. I'm done.
All right. So, although some people did see improvements with lobotomies to their conditions, many other people experience life-altering side effects. One of those big life-altering ones is death.
That's going to alter your life. That's going to alternate your life for sure.
It's surely going to alternate it. So the consequences of the operation have been described as, quote, mixed.
Incredible.
That's a great, no questions. Great descriptor. Are you done burping?
No.
God, you know what I could fuck up right now is some McDonald's chicken nuggets and french fries.
I could go for a McFlurry.
Fuck.
M&M's. However,
many lobotomy patients suffered devastating post-operative complications. You're insensitive by laughing.
Hi, guys. Welcome to our presentation. Today, we're going to talk about Helen Keller.
Point of view, the popular girls are telling you about lobotomies.
I'm not popular.
Uncertain. Oh my God. Unfortunately, Haley and I were not popular. So the results that people had from these lobotomies included intracranial hemorrhage, epilepsy, alterations in affect and personality, brain abscess, dementia, and of course, as we mentioned, the most life-altering one, death.
That'll alter your life, all right.
Ominous portrayals of lobotomized patients in novels, plays, and films further diminished public opinion, and development of antipsychotic medications led to a rapid decline in lobotomy's popularity and to Freeman's reputation.
Good.
Thank God for antipsychotics, for just general like mental health medications. As everyone has always said, if you can't create your own serotonin, it's okay. Store-bought is fine.
Store-bought is fine.
Yeah. And for me, I buy it straight from the store. It's not made in here. The snail antennas are not working.
Well, did we talk about too? I'm not sure if you have it in here. Mr. Freeman had the lobotomobile.
Oh,
which was literally like a mobile lobotomy service. He would go town to town and would set up shop for a day or two, and you could just bring your kids or your family members over to get lobotomized. He bragged that he could do it in less than 10 minutes. Brain surgery.
Imagine
minutes.
You go to the ice cream truck, like the local place at the ice cream truck parks, and next to it is a lobotomobile, and you're like, I think I'm gonna get an ice cream and then a quick little ice pick lobotomy through my eyeballs.
Yeah. For the record, he did not call it the lobotomobile. The critics later on called it the lobotomobile, and I think it's a very...
How could you not call it the lobotomobile?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Incredible.
But obviously there were, like, he was performing... like annually thousands of lobotomies a year, and people were having adverse side effects that also helped contribute to his downfall of his reputation. Like,
yeah,
he You're not a fucking surgeon.
No.
Like, he's doing this on his own. He's not a trained surgeon.
No.
He's just a dude with a fucking ice pick and a
Once
hammer.
again, it's okay to be wrong.
Well, one of the things that I wonder is, like, I know at this time we had germ theory and we understood that like diseases could pass person to person, and we need to clean our surgery utensils. But prions, which I love, prions weren't really a known thing back then, and I wonder if that, like, if anything ever
You wonder if
came-
any of these were like prion.
like, if anybody ever got a prion disease, or if, like, you know, little Timmy down the street had a prion and he passed it along to somebody else through reuse of surgical tools. Because obviously, you can't, I'm sure he didn't throw out.
I would put money on it. At least one or two people had that fucking happen.
Because you can't, I'm sure he didn't throw out every single fucking ice pick that he used for these little.
You got a fucking mobile?
For the record, fun little thing, I'm obsessed with prion diseases. I think they're the sickest
So
fucking
one day
thing
we
in the
would love
world.
to release our original podcast recordings that we had 2 of them before we went on a long hiatus, and we actually did this for reals.
Yeah.
And I have those somewhere deep in the depths of my computer, and I would love to release them. But Haley did an episode on prions.
I did, and it was pretty sick. I just spent a lot of time researching at work.
was a lot of fun.
Definitely not using government money in an efficient way.
Absolutely not.
Sorry, Elon Musk.
Elon Pelon. So a precarious number of people managed to, after a lobotomy, return to responsible work. But on the other side of, the extreme, people were left with severe and disabling impairments. Most people fell into an intermediate group, left with some improvement of their symptoms, but also with emotional and intellectual deficits to which they made a better or worse adjustment. So on average, there was a mortality rate of about 5% in the 1940s. That's a very high rate for a surgical procedure.
Well, yeah, and it's not even surgery at this point.
Exactly.
It's just a procedure.
If you're going to get a procedure, the mortality rate should be like 0.02
oh my god,
or less. So a survey of British lobotomy patients lobotomized between 1942 and 1954 found that 13% of patients were deemed to have made a full recovery. Another 28% were deemed to have made a significant recovery. 25% were deemed to have made no change. And 4% died as a result of the surgery.
That's about on par for like the 5%.
Yeah. Oh, she just squeezed my toes with her toes. But it says 25% were deemed to have made no change. I would say no change in addition to lots of other changes that were very negative.
I think no change is probably like they were still just as difficult as before.
Absolutely.
I think too, when I hear about like, or thinking about the lobotomy mobile, how many housewives or daughters or sisters were convinced, like, well, you don't fit in with what we deem appropriate for a woman, therefore we're going to take you to get a lobotomy.
You're being too difficult.
It's cheap and it's easy, and there's this guy here who'll do it today.
And we're going to talk about somebody that might have fallen into that. Yeah.
Like, it's now or never, so just get it done, and then their lives
we
were
just
changed.
We just need to move on with our lives, and you're getting in the way of it. So one of the highest profile cases of a failed lobotomy was that of Rosemary Kennedy, the younger sister of JFK.
Because the Kennedys have nothing else going on. This is the only thing of importance.
If you haven't heard about this, absolutely insane. So Rosemary Kennedy was the eldest Kennedy daughter. As she started getting older, her parents noticed that she had some kind of developmental, I don't know if it was a disability, to be honest. There's not a lot, like, the article I read didn't provide a ton of detailed information about what was wrong, but, like, basically she was developing a lot slower than her siblings and other kids her age.
Well, I mean, from what I understand, the Kennedys, like JFK and his siblings, were pretty fucking smart. They were charismatic kids.
Yeah.
They excelled at school and got into Harvard, for example.
Yeah.
So I'm sure she probably was, maybe when they're saying mentally disabled, she probably was average intelligence.
Yeah, like maybe below average, maybe, but like not
enough to warrant chopping someone's gray matter up into mush.
Yeah, exactly.
Mashed potatoes.
Exactly. So ultimately, when Rosemary started getting older, they were told that she would do better in a home. However, despite that, the Kennedys did try to keep her at home, but they were putting her through school, which is also pretty normal at that time. Like, kids get kind of sent away to school. That was, boarding school, whatever. So she led, like, what seemed like a fairly normal life at that time. And they lived in Europe for a while. And so there she attended a Montessori school, and that was very helpful for her. And she seemed to do well there because Montessori is a bit more outside of the realms of, like, normal public school.
What is a Montessori school? Did you find out, or is it just kind of...
They're like Let me look up an actual definition.
It's okay.
My mom wanted me to go to one.
Is it like a religious school?
No, it's not.
Oh,
It's like
you could have been so much smarter.
it's a child-centered approach developed by Dr. Maria Montessori in the early 1900s, emphasized on hands-on learning, self-directed activity, a collaboration to foster a child's natural desire for knowledge. Honestly, it's as we're growing and understanding how to raise children better, it's kind of like what people are trying to do more of.
Yeah, like nowadays.
Less teaching the kid and more just letting the kid do what they want to do and let them flow with that, and you go along with the flow and you teach them as they go if whatever they're interested in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's why she's fucking slow with development, because they're just letting her fucking learn about butterflies and she's learning fucking mathematics. I don't know. I'm sorry. Put me in jail. Put me in child jail.
But like she was still included in the family's like social activities and stuff for a while. But then as they started searching for a cure for her, and I also saw somewhere too that she may have also been having seizures, possibly. Yeah. So now the Kennedys have learned about this new procedure, a lobotomy. So in November 1941, Mr. Kennedy arranged to have a lobotomy performed on Rosemary, and it was immediately clear after the operation that it had drastically failed.
Oh, man.
She lost her ability to walk and talk.
Oh, my God.
Like, immediately. Her personality was forever altered. She was left physically disabled. And after being released from the hospital from the surgery, she was immediately institutionalized.
So one of the things, too, about, like, that kind of thing that I think, for me, is a different type of horror than anything else is, like, she previously knew what it was like to walk and talk.
Yeah.
She knew, and she lost that ability. And
it's one thing if you're like in a car accident and that happens to you, but like to have your parents think like, yes, this is the right thing. Let's do this for her.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously we don't know at this point. I mean, based on our research, if she agreed to it or if she was unsure of it,
right?
Like hesitant. But like there is a certain level of absolute fucking horror to being trapped in your body, unable to communicate what you want, what you need, and your desires.
And you've had that previously. It's one thing, like you're saying, if you were born with that and that's what you've always known, but like if you had known some bit of normalcy before that, like I just can't even imagine. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So she spent most of the rest of her life at St. Coletta School for Exceptional Children in Jefferson, Wisconsin. There, it sounded like she received like personalized attention, therapy, but she was mostly isolated from her family. But then later on, her family did try to reestablish a closer connection with her. And in particular, her sister, Eunice Kennedy Shriver, she actually retained a very special bond with her sister, Rosemary. And Eunice is really cool. So she expanded the philanthropy, the place that Rosemary was staying. She expanded it into the Joseph P. Kennedy Jr. Foundation towards public policy work and research relating to intellectual and developmental disabilities. Even cooler than that, which I did not learn until today, inspired by her sister's challenges and accomplishments, Eunice founded the Special Olympics in 1968. Really fucking cool.
That is really cool.
Really cool. And I've never even heard of Eunice. Like,
yeah.
Never
no, I've
heard of her.
heard of the Special Olympic. But yeah, I've never heard of Eunice.
So, Rosemary Kennedy died of natural causes, January 7th, 2005.
Oh my God, 2005?
She was 86. Yeah, she lived a very long life.
Wow, that is nuts. I know a little bit about the Kennedys because I listened to a podcast series all about RFK Jr., the beloved,
the worms in his brain.
the brain worm individual,
and now
the
he's
baby bear.
And now he's in charge of our vaccines and shit.
He is. Heaven forbid we remember when he denied vaccine. Well, no, he didn't deny. He convinced people of the Samoan Islands that vaccines were evil, and then like 100 children died. We just kind of forgot about that.
Yeah.
But
and they just took away like hundreds of thousands of dollars of money towards
like cancer research
and third world country like vaccination and stuff.
Yeah, it's Man, I'm sorry. It's fucking hard because if RFK Jr. didn't do all of that shit, I'd be like, man, this guy's fucking down to clown.
Right.
RFK Jr. had a pet hawk.
Yeah.
And one time, him and some friends were out fucking doing hoodlum shit, as much hoodlum shit as you can do in the fucking suburbs of Boston. And cops rolled up and were like, hey dog, you can't do this. And he goes, I have a hawk and it's trained to kill cops. Are you kidding me? That's incredible. That is so fucking good. And then you turn into this? The worms ate your brain that much? My guy. Your brother had polio.
I'm not laughing at that. I'm just laughing.
No, laugh at him. But the Kennedy family, so JFK's dad, Mr. John F. Kennedy.
He doesn't talk like that.
No, I know. It's Boston. We're using a Boston accent. The Kennedy family came from nothing. Mr. Kennedy himself, literally Mr. Kennedy, like the father of JFK, worked fucking hard and busted his ass and made his way from nothing to something. For what? I'm sorry. You got 2 sons with bullets in their head.
Exactly. One son tried really hard to make it into something.
Man, JFK Jr. Mr. John F. Kennedy.
Why?
I don't know.
You
You ever watch that show Clone High?
No.
You should watch that. It's really funny.
Great.
They have a character of JFK, and he talks like this. It's very funny.
No, when I lived in Texas, the place where he was shot is in Dallas, and there's a museum, and it was a really cool fucking museum.
I would love to go see it.
It's such a good, and you can
Can I
go
visit your mom?
Sure, and you can go up to the window.
I want to see the grassy knoll.
It's really cool. You can go up to the window where he was allegedly shot from. Like,
No way. Are you?
yeah.
No way. He wasn't shot from there.
What if I'm making that up? I'm pretty sure we went up to the place where they think he was shot. We went up many stories. What if I'm fucking wrong?
Who
I might
shot
be wrong.
him? Name 2 people who shot Kennedy.
First of all, it was aliens.
His
Alien number 1 and alien number 2.
well, back up. They released, I don't know if you saw, they released more files from the CIA about who assassinated Kennedy. Did you read them?
No.
I read them, and they actually just said that his head kind of just did that.
His head just like imploded on itself. You know, listen.
I'm listening.
Sometimes your brain just explodes.
Sometimes if you don't drill a hole in your skull.
And you just can't help it. Yeah. The only thing that will stop it is a lobotomy. I think we're done. I think we need to stop for the evening.
Wait, no. You and I, we have a theatrical reenactment.
Okay, wait. We've been recording for so long.
You and I found this beautiful thing. It's from storycorps.org. It's a selection of stories from people that dealt with lobotomies.
Reenactment.
I'm going to give Harmony a lobotomy right now. So we are going to read, we're going to select parts. We did auditions. We reviewed the footage, and we determined that Harmony and I were the best selections for these roles of Patricia and Glenn Moen.
And Patricia is the one who had a lobotomy.
She was lobotomized by Walter Freeman in 1962 at the age of 36.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time she and her husband have spoken about her lobotomy.
That's wild. First
Which is
of all,
crazy.
you had a lobotomy and you never talked to your husband about
I would
it?
be so mad. I wouldn't talk to.
Oh my God. But if I was the husband, I'd be like, please, dear God, tell me your experience about having a thing drilled into your brain.
There's probably a nice chunk of shame with like forcing your wife, especially they said 1962.
Yeah,
this thing's on the
true.
outs. People are like, this is not good.
Ready? Get into character?
I got a Sharpay.
Okay.
My name is Glenn Moen.
We're not laughing at people like lobotomized. Just really quick, we're not. I'm sorry.
She's laughing at my voices. My name is Glenn Moen. I'm 79 years old. I signed the release for Pat's lobotomy.
We have not talked about it since I had the lobotomy. I don't think ever. My husband is not a great communicator.
I don't talk to her any more than I have to.
Glenn,
In regard to my awful accent.
Glenn, be nice.
Both laugh.
We've been married about 13 years, and it just started. I cried all the time. Okay, this is actually really sad. I cried all the time. I just was mentally no good.
One night, I came home and she said, well, I've done it now. She'd taken the old bottle of some kind of pills.
God.
It is. It's very sad.
That's,
And here we are laughing.
that's not laughing. Yeah, we're not laughing at it. That's when the doctor decided it was time.
We had to put her down.
He told me this was the last resort. I don't know what else to do.
Dr. Freeman said you can come out of the... What?
Uh-huh.
Dr. Freeman said you can come out of this a vegetable or you can come out dead. And I guess I was miserable enough that I didn't care. What the fuck?
Pause. Yeah. It's either, like, there doesn't seem to be an option for, like, not doing it.
Like, what do you mean you're either miserable or a vegetable?
No, you can exist as a human.
You can.
What the fuck?
Therapy and medication. Oh my God.
I mean, I guess
Alright.
it's not available at the time. But, like, oh my
But still,
gosh.
like, Jesus fucking Christ. Or you could just, like, have a partner who wants to talk to you about stuff and is there to support you. God forbid. Anyways, all right, go on, Glenn.
I guess I was kind of worried because the operation of severing a nerve in the brain, it started to go wild to me.
He was afraid he was going to lose his cook.
And I don't like that cook.
Whoa. I remember nothing after I saw Dr. Freeman. I don't remember going into the hospital or having it done or how long I was there. That's all gone.
Do you think she just blocked that out?
Whoa. I don't remember going into the hospital.
That had, like, what the, I mean, that, so
What do you mean?
how long does short-term memory usually last? Is that,
No
I think it's
fucking
a couple
clue.
of seconds.
I don't have it.
I can tell.
Thank you.
We were going back from San Jose after the operation, and Pat informed me she couldn't wait to get back home. She wanted to file for divorce.
I wonder why.
Don't remember that at all. I don't think I said that.
I think I just went on driving and ignored the situation, began wondering to myself, how much good this operation accomplish? Really? I could see no changes in the most areas, except
She's easier to get along with.
You didn't see any change in the way I kept my house or the way
no.
I was more a free person after I'd had it. Just not to be so concerned about things. I just went home and started living. I guess is the best way I can say I was able to get back into taking care of things and cooking and shopping and that kind of thing.
Quite honestly, don't like it the way she turned out. Been able to slop on my knob quite hard. It's been a good life.
Well, thank you.
By the way, I don't think we said this earlier. I had seen records of, like, the youngest that people had been for this procedure was, like, 4 years old.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't just adults.
I know we're joking and being stupid right now.
Well, yeah, of
but that's
course,
just us
it's me.
as in general. But this is actually really fucking sad because she's describing. So she says earlier,
Like, she's just fucking depressed.
she said, "I cried all the time. I just was mentally no good." And then one night I came home and she said, "Well, I've done it now." She'd taken a whole bottle of some kind of pills.
she's just fucking...
She was depressed.
Yes, like,
heavily
there's-
depressed.
And their idea is we're going to take a fucking ice pick and shove it in your brain.
Because
and
it's
move it around.
easier than therapy and communication with your partner going to therapy with you. Like,
I'll be so honest with you. It does sound easier. I'm an individual
Oh,
who
it's
I
way
look
easier.
for ease, and
everyone looks for ease. That's why I'm not saying that's why we take medication, because medication, I take it. Like,
oh,
it's
medication
very
is fucking
helpful.
hard.
But no, I'm just saying, like, it's easy. Not easy. It's like the first thing is like, well, let me do the medication
Mm-hmm.
because that's way easier than going to therapy and trying to unravel all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff that you're going through, even if you don't necessarily have trauma or anything, just like trying to figure out why you feel depressed. Like,
Yeah.
it's really fucking hard. So, yeah.
Well, like, even reading her statements about, like, being sad and, like, wanting to end it, I mean, I'm gonna make you feel really concerned, and I want to make it so clear. Like, I'm in a good headspace. I
Yeah.
really genuinely am. I'm doing a lot for my life, and I'm in a lot better position than I was even, like, a year ago.
Mhm.
And I was in New Hampshire for work for the last 3 months, And there were times where like I would tell my boyfriend, like, I'm gonna go in the shower and you're just gonna leave me alone. And I just cried. I just sobbed because sometimes it's really fucking hard.
It's too much.
And it would be easier to just
It's
have
way easier.
somebody stick something in my eyeball and move it around. But do I want to risk losing myself to make my life easier?
Yeah.
Personally, I don't. That's not something that I
But that's
want to
the
do.
other thing too, is like with these
people-
lobotomies, they're not explaining to them.
They're not explaining it, and most of the time these people don't have that choice.
No.
We have the knowledge now
Mhm.
to even facetiously be like, well, it'd be easier if I have a lobotomy.
Yeah.
Like that's what every woman wants, is
Yep.
to think less
Yep.
and do more housework.
Everything in life gets in the way of me doing my housework, and if I could just have someone stick a goddamn needle in my eye and make it to where I want to do the housework,
Dude, I'd be
Problem
like,
solved.
honestly, being so real, it feels like that. I don't want to work.
I know nobody wants to fucking like humans are not necessarily. I should say
not
we're not
made-
meant to work, but like
No,
we're
but,
not.
like, we're not made to work 40-hour work week. Is like
The 40-hour work week, no. Like, you're made to work to do what you need to do to survive, but, like, we're made to be creative and relax and, like...
When you look at history and you look at what even pilgrims in the Middle Ages were doing work-wise, they had so much more time for what we would consider relaxing.
Yeah.
For, like, quote-unquote hobbies. Granted, they were more for survival, but engaging in their community was
Yes.
meaningful.
Yeah.
Engaging in their work was meaningful. It wasn't just we're working to make a company money. It was
Exactly.
we're working to keep not just us, but our community and our family alive.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
nowadays, we are so wrapped up in the 40-hour work weeks.
Hustle culture.
Hustle culture. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sorry to make it like a super fucking huge bummer, but like,
It's not a bummer though, but like it is, but it's not. But like you and I do that. Like we're doing that. So Haley and I are doing this podcast. Like one of our episodes was late this week because I'm working a job and like we're coming up on this big milestone and like I'm crunching like crazy and I'm working overtime and Haley's doing the same thing at her job. And like we have so much fucking fun doing this podcast because it's for us and we create it and it's ours and it's original. And that's what like quote unquote work, I shouldn't say work, but like you should have that ability and that time to want to create and do the thing that makes you so fucking happy.
and it feels so fulfilling. I mean,
yeah.
you and I feel fulfilled in very different ways when it comes to our hobbies too.
Yeah.
I mean, not to thrust this upon you, but
No.
like the podcast was at the end of the day your idea. You edit it. You do all the social media.
But you are the person that verbalized, hey, you want to do a podcast? Just to be
I
fair.
thought it was you.
I could have sworn it was you.
I thought it was you that was like, we should make a podcast.
I like the idea that we both think it's the other person.
I think that's
And
fun.
we truly never know.
You're more involved than I am. We started doing it, and I had a Minty bee early on, and we stopped because I got really overwhelmed by a lot of work.
You had a Minty Bee because you had a lot of other fucking stuff going on in your life, too.
I had
very fair.
A supportive partner.
Yes.
And that made it really, really difficult.
Yeah, there was a lot of life changes for you
Yes.
going on. That was rough.
But like now we're in a spot where like Harmony's handling a lot of that, and then I have my own hobby too outside of podcasting, which is like my cosplay stuff. And it's been like a journey where for the last probably like honestly 5 months, I haven't been able to engage with that.
Yeah.
So this has been the creative outlet.
And having that taken away from you, like, I love that we're talking about something so serious and we keep adjusting.
I know, I'm so
our
sorry.
snail eyes headbands. I love them so much. But yeah, like having that taken away from you, you don't realize how much of a hole it brings because, granted, if you're able to do a job where you make money and that job is your creative thing, oh, God bless you. I'm so happy for you. But like, that's not where we are right now. I love my job. My job is really great, but it's not like my creative outlet necessarily. And like, you're the same. So it's like you go to work to do the thing. And sure, it's like, it fills a little bit of that one bucket of like, I did a thing that I get paid for and I did a good job.
Yeah.
Like, it checks that little mark, but it's not like I created something that was my own.
Right.
And people liked it and I made money off of it, like kind of a thing. Yeah.
And it's really hard for me to compartmentalize sometimes because I'm going to be so honest with you. This isn't a career path that I ever really saw myself choosing, like what I'm doing now.
Yeah. I mean, a few
But
years ago when you
also-
chose it was kind of like
Yeah, it was
a big change
basically
for
out
you.
of the blue.
Yeah.
But also, it's one of those things where in high school, I was doing like chemistry and we did a radiation sub chapter and I went, this is what I want to do. Like I could see myself working in the radiation field and here I am now and I'm doing it and it's fun. And I like when we actually do shit, oh my God, it's so
it's
good.
cool, right.
But so much of my day is filled with like menial admin bullshit.
That's like how they say like I have every time I watch a detective show, and I know that's not how you should do it, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I would love to be a goddamn detective. But it's 10% the really cool detective stuff and 90% paperwork, calling up,
fuck
like
yeah.
tracking shit down. Like that's how this shit goes. Like I work in video games and it's really freaking cool. It's so cool. But the parts that I actually do are like, let's make sure this weird back-end integration thing works, like to make sure that people are not cheating in a certain way.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily making the game, but it is an important part of the game. And it's really fucking, like, it's cool that I get to be a part of it, but it's not all like, you're like, I tell people I work in video games, like, oh, you're like out there making the games. And I'm like, I'm making a part of it. There's so many parts that go into it. And like the part I work in is not necessarily glamorous, but to be fair, too, I'm not an engineer. I'm project managing, so I don't actually know how to do that shit. I'm just telling people what to do.
Well, it's the same thing with like when I tell people my job title.
Yeah.
People think like, oh my God, you're running a reactor. And I'm like, actually, I'm not.
Yeah.
I supervise the maintenance.
Right.
Somebody else is turning the wrench. I literally am not allowed to touch a tool.
And there's 20,000 steps to do anything.
Oh my God.
Paperwork and steps and tags and
for real. And it's very frustrating.
Yeah. It's tough.
Sometimes you get that project though. I'm sure you felt the same way. Sometimes you get that project and you're like, ooh, it's go time.
Yep. You get that thing that really like gets your yum.
Yes. It really yums your yum.
It really yums that yummy yum.
But like really for us though, like that's work. But then there's the podcast. And the podcast I feel really is for us.
Yeah.
The yum of the yum.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
I love researching. I love bringing to you. I think it's so fun to present to you topics that you've never heard of.
I love that.
And sometimes I feel bad that I ripped that from you because I've heard everything.
Oh no, you truly have. You truly have. But I like the idea of sharing with other people. But the part that I like the most is making people laugh and being like comedic and just laughing together and having a good time. But
we're funny.
Yeah, we're so not funny. We've never been funny once in our lives.
British people. Sorry, John David Griffiths.
How long do you think we've been recording?
For way too long.
If you could put a bet on it,
2 hours.
I would say at least for sure.
Thank you guys for listening to Make It Weird.
For listening.
Slumber Party.
This has honestly been so fun. We haven't done one like this in a while where it's like late at night, it's a Saturday, we're just like drinking and like having fun.
And we got to work on a topic together.
Yeah, that was really fun, honestly. Maybe we should do more of that.
I think we should do a couple of specials. Like I think our Halloween special, we should do one.
Yeah.
Our maybe Christmas special.
If you have any ideas of like certain specials you think that would be special,
oh my gosh, for real.
Email us. Remember, we have an email, makeitweirdpod@gmail.com. You can email us literally anything at all. I read them all the time. I actually love them. I love just getting emails, even if it doesn't have much in there. You think like we want it.
And hey, listen, as we said before in the previous mini, if you send an especially weird email, I will send you a coaster, a Make It Weird coaster. It's a soft coaster, so when you set your cup down,
it doesn't make a clink.
It don't make a sound. Did you hear that? I set a cup down. It's beautiful. Thank you guys for listening.
But yes, if you have any fun, personal, weird stories, things that have happened to you or people you know, just like really anything interesting, like a true crime thing or a science thing or whatever, and it's happened to you personally, like you didn't look this up on the internet, email us. We'll send you one of these fucking Make It Weird coasters.
For real.
Straight to your door.
Yeah.
With lots of kisses on it.
I feel like I have to order some for like my family because they're going to be mad if they don't get one.
Same. Yeah, we should
My
order
mom,
more.
I think my mom still listens to every episode. Mom,
shout out Erica.
If you're listening, send me a smiley face. Out of context, I'll know what it means. Love you, Mom.
Love you, Erica.
Thank you.
I have lots of family and friends that listen. It's very sweet. They've also said it's a fun way that they feel like they're connecting with me without talking to me all the time.
That's kind of how I feel too.
And I think it's really sweet. Yeah.
I feel that for my grandma though, because I don't know, she's very religious, and we sometimes say like Hail Satan.
Yeah.
And like
that's a religion.
Yes. I don't know. We don't worship Satan, but like also we listen to ghosts a lot.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's a band called Dogma. They're kind of like ghosts but ladies, and they wear like sexy not maid, sexy
like nun costumes but creepy because they've also got like the nun makeup on.
Well, it's the fucking corpse paint.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Lots of fun.
And it's so much fun, and I highly recommend them if you like metal, if you like melodic metal or symphonic metal.
Yeah,
highly recommend.
Fun. All right, we do have to close this out. It is so
sorry.
No, don't be sorry. We've been trailing on forever.
It's a
so much editing is gonna have to happen. Thank you guys so much for listening. We've had a lot of fun. I hope you have fun too. Yeah, we've had a blast, and I hope you enjoy your next slumber party, and you can have some lip smackers and eye mask and horrible, disgusting, wonderful vodka drink.
I mean, maybe leave that
choice.
Out.
Yeah, but whatever you leave that out.
leave that part out.
We're so drunk. We need to leave. Goodbye. Thank you for making weird with us.
Keep on
making it weird.
Goodbye. Bye.
If you liked our episode, please leave us a review on Spotify or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
And don't forget to follow us on social media. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Threads at Make It Weird Pod.
Got something weird you want to share with the world? Send it over to us at makeitweirdpod@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening to Make It Weird. Bye!